Hello and welcome to Football Club of Riverside. I'm your host. My name is Yemi. Today, as part of our How to Be a Man series, I'll be talking about how to improve your communication skills. Improving your communication skills. I've often heard this argument about women complaining about men that men don't talk or men don't talk enough. But what I like to bear in mind is, on average, women use 20,000 words per day compared to 7,000 words that men uses. And that's because that's the way we're wired. Women like are expressive. They like activities where you talk and express yourself. On the other hand, men don't talk a lot. We're more into action than words, and that's because that's how we are biologically made. So, in order to improve your communication skills, there are a few steps that I find helpful, and I think it'll be helpful for any man out there that's watching this. Number one, active listening. This is where you listen to understand what's been said. You don't listen to respond. You listen, understand what's been said, and then if you need to, you respond. And the beauty of active listening, you don't even have to respond. Just listen. If there's any word that's got one or two or three meanings, and you're not quite sure which of the meaning the speaker is referring to, you can always just highlight like, oh, that word you use here has got three meanings. Which of the meanings are we running with? So that's one. Number two, understand the person you're talking to. One of my pet hates is when people use lol or lol. It's not even a word. So if I say something funny, I'd rather you laugh, not say lol, because that's a mean thing. Well, that's just me, my preference. So understand who you're speaking to, and then speak in a way that they understand. Because the beauty of communication is, if you use words that no one understands, then communication is lost. Or if you use a phrase that the person you're speaking to cannot understand, then that conversation is lost because they don't have a clue what you're about. Then, three, body language. Personally, when it's cold, I like to fold my hands. That way it keeps my fingers warm. But people find that rude. And when I was growing up, and it's a cultural thing, when I was growing up and you put your hands in your pocket when you're talking to someone that's older than you, that's considered rude. So you have to adjust your body language to be more positive depending on the environment where you find yourself. So if you're in a place where folding of hand is considered to be rude, then don't fold your hands when you're talking. But I'm expressive. I like to use hand gesture, face gesture, and movement sometimes to convey my message, as you can see from this video. So know who you're talking to and use, depending on the culture, use the body language that they find least offensive or non-offensive at all, as the case may be. Then number two, number three, number four, be brief and straight to the point. Sometimes there's no point going on a long ramble when you can just get to your straight to the point in 3 or 4 words. When I was younger, when my dad used to give me a task to go and do, when the task is done, all he wants to know is it done, yes or no? He wasn't interested in the long, intricate details of how exactly the task got done. It's just, is it done, yes or no? And that's how men usually are. Most of the time, and that's why we only use 7,000 words. If you can convey an action in 5 words, why do you want to go for paragraphs and sentences? It's not what most men will do. So that's 5. 6, take mental notes. If you're speaking with someone, especially a woman that uses a lot of words, you will discover that you might struggle to keep up with all those words, especially if she wants you to respond. So as men, what we do is we pick the words that you consider to be important or most important in the sentence or sentences that you use. And that sometimes could be confusing. I'll give you a classic example. There was a conversation between a man and a woman, and they've only just met. So in that conversation, the woman used this phrase, life is a bed of roses. The man heard bed and roses. So the man turned around to the woman and said, hold on, I've only just met you. I was talking about bed and roses already. That is taking the whole sentence out of context. But that's usually what we tend to do. You pick the words that you think are most important when it suits you. But active listening is a lot better. That's 6. 7. Think before you speak. Yeah, and that's why at the beginning I said it's important that you listen not to respond, but you listen to understand. Because if you listen to respond, then you're not taking mental note, and that conversation can go south very quickly. And lastly, treat everybody the same. So if you're speaking to a CEO or the janitor of a company, you speak to both of them exactly the same way. You don't speak to one person with respect and then talk down to the other person. That's not right. You treat everybody the same. So the way you speak to the janitor will be exactly the same way you speak to the CEO, the Prime Minister, or even Member of Parliament, MPs. One of the tests that I know this is really bad, but one of the tests that I take up, if I want to know if someone is genuinely polite, I take them to a restaurant. Because the way you speak to the waiter, for me, determines who you are as opposed to when you're speaking to a CEO. Because what I've noticed in a restaurant, some people have the tendency to speak down at the waiter because they believe the waiter is beneath them. But that's not right. People are people and we're all the same. So when you are in these conversations or the conversations that you have, regardless of who you're speaking to, speak to everyone and treat everyone the same. Use the same words, the same sentence, use the same respect that you use for CEO, for janitor, because we're all people. And then when you speak to someone, cut out all the jargons, the abbreviations. Most people don't understand that. It flies over their head. Use words. I often tell people, I went to school, and when I went to school, I was taught English language. Not abbreviations, language. So when you're talking to me, just speak in words that I understand and then we're good. Once you start speaking abbreviation, I don't understand. I'm going to tell you, I don't have a clue what you're spoken about. Or what you're spoken about. So that's all I've got for you for today. Take those steps and improve your communication skills. Till next time, take care. Bye.